I post a lot of videos of me with my youngest son, who happens to have pretty severe autism. He's 9 years old. And you know, we have a lot of good times and we work through a lot of things. He has a huge disability, there's no doubt about that. But he also has a ton of abilities. And you know, while every time you think you have the autism situation somewhat under control, sometimes autism looks like this. Yesterday, my son, who really doesn't have a ton of meltdowns, bit my arm. That's my arm. We got in a stressful situation, and he could not communicate his feelings, and he started hitting himself in the head like this. That's a big autism thing. And I was like, "Don't hit yourself, baby, don't hit yourself." And when I, grabbed him, gently, he reached down and bit my arm. Just for a second or so, but it hurt like hell and he broke the skin. Thank God he doesn't have a ton of meltdowns like that. But my little Sean is so complicated. Autism is so complicated, In fact, I started a podcast, just started the first episode, so parents could share their stories about raising kids with autism. So I shared my story on the first podcast, and it's called Boxing with Autism. And the reason it's called that is because autism is kind of like playing chess, except you get punched in the face while you're doing it. So I call it Boxing with Autism because you never know. You're weaving, you're bobbing, you're up against the ropes. Sometimes things are great, sometimes you're in control, and sometimes you're on the floor with the 3 count. But you got to get up and keep it going for your child's sake. And for your own sake, your own sanity, You can't ever give up. Now my son's come a long, long way. This is just it's sad. I mean, my heart sinks when I look at it, when I think about it. It makes me want to cry. It hurts. He'd never bite anybody else like that. But I think he feels safe doing that to me because he knows I'm not going to hurt him back, And we talked through it because he can't express his feelings, so I talked about him being frustrated and him being angry and him being embarrassed at that situation. And I was able to kind of, talk him down, and he was okay within a couple of minutes. And in fact, all night he said to me, he has a very limited speech, and he was saying, "No bite, be nice, no bite, be nice." And I said, "That's right, baby, don't bite, don't hurt. Gotta learn to express your feelings." And sometimes we have him squeeze stuff when he's angry. We have little balls and different things he can squeeze and do. And I even let him squeeze me, not pinch, but squeeze. But autism, most kids I know with severe autism will pinch. They will hit. They will bite sometimes if they're in a really stressful situation and they don't know how to deal with it. Autism is just so frigging complicated. And, all the beautiful things about my son, I'd never change any of that. But, I do hear a lot of parents say that, "I love my child just the way he is, and I love my child just the way he is." But if God came down today and said, "Hey, Wayne, I can cure your child of autism, only you got to give up your life," I'd say, "No problem, instantly. Let's do it." Just before God takes me, I want to actually see my son cured so I can experience that. Just imagine being trapped inside your mind and body like these kids and adults are. Because autism, especially when you're lower on the scale, autism is so hard. These kids with limited speech are just literally trapped within their bodies. It's the truth. And just imagine how frustrating that would be to not be able to communicate your feelings. Especially when people are doing you wrong, when somebody's abusing you or treating you like crap or making fun of you. And that's what I worry about, all the things he's going to face. He's 9 now, and the school he goes to is great. The kids are wonderful. He's in a special needs class, but he's in a mainstream school. But I wonder as he becomes a teenager, because he is very aware of his surroundings. He loves girls. He loves to flirt. He has a great sense of humor. He has a sense of pride. He's very with it in that way. As his hormones start kicking around and he realizes, hey, maybe I'm never going to get like the typical girl I want or certain things he wants to do, I'm afraid he's going to act out more. I'm afraid he's going to become depressed. And it just, it breaks my fucking heart, okay? It really does. But you have to see the good things, You have to look to the future. And we work really hard with them trying to limit these kinds of episodes. And, all kinds of therapies and experts and everything you could think of, And he's a wonderful boy and he's come so far. He's the light of my life. I love him so much. But I just wish I could cure him. And that's not going to happen, I know. But we can do the best that we can to help him become a happy adult best he can, and be able to communicate his feelings and be able to deal with anger and frustration and all those things that the rest of us can just scream at and curse at, but he can't, He doesn't know how to process those things. He is learning, I believe. But anyway, that's why I started the podcast, Boxing with Autism. Because it is a boxing match, man. It really is. And it probably will be for the rest of his life and my life. But I just want to make sure before I die that my boy is as settled as he can be in his own body and mind, And I pray to God that some of the new technologies with gene editing and such could, like the CRISPR technology, could someday edit out the bad genes and possibly cure his autism, which would be a dream come true, So anyway, what I decided to do, because I have a lot of, decent amount of followers on my YouTube channel, I want to start posting just little tips and things about raising a child with autism to hopefully also promote my podcast, which is called Boxing with Autism. Just search up Boxing with Autism. You'll find it on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout. Just search it up on Google. You'll find it. The first episode just went live. And I just hope that you'll spread the word to other parents and family members of people with autism, because we are looking for guests. Going forward, I want other parents to tell their stories on the podcast as well. So please spread the word. Check out my podcast, Boxing with Autism. And, when you see somebody who has a disability of some kind, be it autism or anything, just think about how hard their life is and how hard their family has to live to help them and to nurture them. And just be aware that, these people are out there and they have it so hard. Especially autism has grown so much. When my son was first diagnosed, like 7 years ago, it was like 1 in 180 kids in America were diagnosed with autism, or 1 in 160, something like that. Today it's like 1 in 80 and growing. And we have to be very aware of this, because probably most of you watching know at least one person with autism, no matter where they are on the scale. So be aware of these people and try to help them and try to nurture them and try to be understanding with them, because theirs is a hard, hard road. I'm sure with any disability, but I can only speak to autism. The frustration of being trapped in your body and mind and your emotions, it's sometimes got to be a living hell. I've witnessed it with my own son. But these people have so much to give, and we need to do whatever we can to help them. And let me tell you something, kids with disabilities are the strongest people you'll ever meet. They face adversity you and I could never think of. Well, other people complain about, I lost my keys, or, whatever. people with autism especially have it so hard. And they are so strong to get through every day. And through the situations such as what my son got through the other day, albeit he bit me. So just be aware that these people are out there around you, and try to be as understanding and as helpful as you can. And if you are a parent or sibling or grandparent of a kid or an adult with autism, please listen to my podcast, Boxing with Autism, but also contact me, because I'd love it if you came on as a guest. You don't have to use your real name or anything, but I'd love to hear your story, and I believe other parents would love to hear your story, because I think we can help each other. So anyway, spread the word, and say a prayer for everyone with disabilities. Over and out.